Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. I'm your host and beat writer, Brock Vieira. You can check out all of our work at www.si.com /NFL /Rounds /on SI, where we drop double digit pieces of content every single day for you, the fans, to get you through, of course, this offseason. And in this offseason, of course, something that's going to be scrutinized, especially as we approach April, is going to be the NFL draft and the Rams having two first round picks in this draft. So the reason why I bring that up is for today's conversation, and that is revolving around what do the Rams need to do to go and get a player like Max Crosby, if not Crosby himself. So when you look at the pass rusher market entering this offseason, there's a lot to be excited about. There's some really good options on the free agency market. Trey Hendrickson would be one. Jalen Phillips is another. But there's a variety of ways you can go. However, the it seems like the biggest name that is going to be out there is, of course, Raiders defensive end Max Crosby. Crosby himself has not said anything publicly, but multiple media members are reporting that Crosby is fed up with the Raiders' lack of success over recent years. There also seems to be a little bit of an alleged rift between Crosby and Tom Brady, and of course, Tom Brady's close associate, Alex Guerrero, who and Guerrero is a part of, of course, now the Raiders staff regarding him being shut down for some of the final games of 2025. And they're just, long story short, seems to be this disconnect between Crosby and the Raiders. So where do the Rams kind of fit in this scenario? Well, many expected a quote unquote Michael Parsons type trade in value in order for teams to go out and acquire Crosby, and that could still be the case, especially after new head coach Clint Kubiak has already stated that he wished to maintain, as I keep Crosby in Las Vegas. Not only did he say that, he already met with Crosby, making sure to do that within his schedule of his opening presser and kind of his first few what 72 hours in Las Vegas, and he also hired Rob Leonard, in-house hire to be defensive coordinator. Of course, not choosing to hire Aubrey Pleasant, who interviewed for the job, Rams assistant head coach. So there's a lot that the organization is doing to try and repair this relationship. However, if Crosby wants to force his way out, there's a belief that he should be able to be plucked for a first and a second round pick. So when you look at some of the teams interested in Crosby, they all have something in common, and that is that they're all contenders. And most of them have been in the playoffs. I've been hearing names like the Buffalo Bills, the um, pardon me, the Philadelphia Eagles, the Seattle Seahawks, the San Francisco 49ers, the Rams are in that mix as well. And when you look at all of them, they're all selecting within that playoff range. So this is big for the Rams because there's a possibility where they can go and get a guy like Max Crosby and not have to trade away the 13th overall pick. Instead, they can use the 29th and then a second overall pick. Sorry, a second round pick to supplement that, and possibly a day three pick to sweeten the pot in order to move this. So not only would the Rams be able to keep their 13th overall pick, which they could use on an outside cornerback if they wanted to, and potentially a wide receiver, if they wanted to add to that room, wherever they want to go with it. They would also be able to add a guy like Crosby to the defensive line, who not only adds the finishing ability when it comes to pass rush, but also has the veteran presence to be able to get the Rams over tough situations. The Rams were one of the cheapest, if not the cheapest, defense in the NFL last season, and it started to show as the year went on. You can only do so much schematically before talent wins out, and that's what happened to the Rams last season. Crosby would flip that narrative on its head immediately. The problem is, though, the Rams are not the best destination for him at this point because allegedly the Seahawks are interested in him as well. They just came off of a Super Bowl. The Philadelphia Eagles are interested in him, and they always have this weird like 1 year off, 1 year on thing. And last year was a year off, so you would expect him to kind of rebound this year. The prospect, of course, for Crosby to be on a defensive line with the likes of Jalen Carter and some of the other players that they have. Depends on who they bring back, of course. Some of the other pieces that they have. It's a very exciting prospect for him, especially since he knows He will likely have an offense that will be able to back him up because again they have the whole 1 year on, 1 year off thing, and again they were off last year. And then you also need to wonder about some of the other options, like the Buffalo Bills and then the San Francisco 49ers. Of course, two teams that have been at the precipice of championship success and haven't been able to get over the hump. When you look at potential legacy conversations, if he can be that guy to do so, it would dramatically increase the likelihood that he makes it to the Hall of Fame. So the Rams will need to put together a package that makes it interesting for Crosby. And then at this point, for Crosby, he already signed an extension with the Raiders. So it's more of what are you putting on the table that is going to convince me that moving my entire family to Los Angeles is the best move for the Crosby family at this point in his career. Fortunately for the Rams, they have a variety of answers. First off, there's going to be an environment that Crosby can step into and not have to be the main guy right away, right? He can slowly work his way in, and he doesn't have to play every single snap on the field. Fortunately for him, the Rams have tremendous depth on the defensive line. And the second part is that they have the team success that really would make him want to leave a place like Vegas where they're going on their fourth head coach in 4 years and their third general manager in that time. You also need to look at the relationships that are surrounding the Rams. Devontae Adams is the big one because there's a straight up connection between, of course, the Rams organization and Adams and Crosby due to Adams' time in Las Vegas. But then you also have to look at the other factors into it. Matthew Stafford, he is a telltale story of abandoning the franchise that drafted him to try and seek greener pastures in Los Angeles, winning a Super Bowl with his first year with the franchise. And then for Crosby, the one issue that he's always had in his career is that he never really had the offense that could back his defensive efforts ever in his career, which is something the Ravs automatically provide with their production on the field, but also knowing that he has a head coach who's not on the hot seat in Sean McVay that is a premier offensive mind. And then when you hear stories of Sean McVay being a soundboard for Chris Shula, you get excited because you think that as a player, you are on the forefront of both offensive and defensive evolutions. And when you are around that, the knowledge of your game expands. And as much as your knowledge expands, so does your production. So that's what can be the intriguing factors for Crosby. However, I think the thing that's going to nail it for the Rams, if they wish to pursue this move, is going to be this proximity to home. Max Crosby loves the Raiders. He loves Las Vegas. He has the Raiders shield tattooed on his body. Right? His home is in Las Vegas. His family's home is in Las Vegas. And for them to pack all that up and move, it would be a massive undertaking. To know that that move is only 4 hours down the road via car makes it a much easier transition, even compared to some of those other West Coast cities like San Francisco and Seattle. There's a lot of commonality within Los Angeles and within Las Vegas that's going to be very appealing to Crosby. I think that when you look at all those factors together, the ability to win instantly, the fact that he has an offense that will back him in everything that he does on defense, the fact that he knows the defense will have proper investment and proper coaching into them, and then all those things are backed by the words of Devontae Adams, that would be a very, very, very tough thing for Crosby to turn down if the Rams want to pursue him. I think that this is going to be a situation that's really going to amp up in March. And as we approach draft day, this is going to be a conversation that amplifies. The reason why I say that is that the Rams, when they look to make a move in Jalen Ramsey, really amplified up tops during the draft. Because of the nature of these picks, I think that about 2 weeks to a week before, is when we're going to see an amplification of talks if something does occur. And with that, with all these factors, I think that there's a very good chance that Max Crosby ends up playing for the Rams in 2026. This has been Brock Vieira for the Los Angeles Rams Insider Podcast. We'll catch y'all next time. Take care.